Hey, welcome to my very first episode of Poured with L. Harper. I'm so excited to share with you all everything that I have planned and coming up. So, for this first episode, I kind of really just wanted to give you all a backstory of how I ended up here. And I just want to share like everything that I've been through. Um, and hopefully, get a conversation started at at minimum. Okay. So y'all grab a glass and let's get into it. Okay. All right, y'all. So my first love story starts like in the 2000s when I met my kid's dad. We met in high school and, we were children at that time. And so we were steady throughout high school, doing all the high school things. And then after I graduated high school, he graduated before me, but after I graduated high school, we kind of did this on again, off again type situation until we had children. And so when children came into play, we had to really think about, are we going to be adults about this, or are we just gonna go our separate ways and be baby mama, baby daddy type stuff? And so we figured that we were gonna be, parents to our children. We gonna be together. We gonna give our children a two-parent household because we didn't have a two-parent household. So that was our plan. We loved each other, you know. We although bullshit ensued throughout this whole time, we loved each other at the end of the day. And so we felt like, yeah, we gonna do this. So, honey, when I say we took each other through there, we took each other through there. Um, we just we had some great times, don't get me wrong, but going through all of these different changes from child like teenagers to young adults to parents to okay, we about to do this thing. Now we never did get married, but we were in our relationship for a very, very long time. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some things that I allowed that I never spoke up for myself. So by the time I started speaking up for myself, it was like concrete. Like he was set because we set the foundation of I'm gonna let him do what he want and I'm just gonna take it. Or, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't an abusive relationship or nothing like that, but it's just kind of like, if there were some things that I desired, I kind of suppressed my desires because it didn't align with his. That's what I felt like. Now he might could tell a completely different story, but how I felt was it was like, I had desires, I had dreams, and I wasn't vocal about them. I just wanted him to be on the same page as me. But I wasn't vocalizing what I needed, what I wanted, what I desired. So there was a time that there were things that he wanted and desired in all of the things. And so we both started being vocal about the things that we wanted. And once we started doing that, we were realizing, look, we not aligning. Like it's not aligning. So this goes on for some time. And by the time I get the baby number 4, I'm over it. I'm over it. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be in a loving relationship where I had all the things and da 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 da. And I just felt like I wasn't getting what I needed, what I wanted. He felt like he wasn't getting what he needed, what he wanted. And I said, let me do you something good. I'm finna go. I'm about to take my children. I'm about to go move back home with my mama. And this is done. We don't ever have to be together no more. I've had enough. And I'm sure you have too. So we went our separate ways as far as in a relationship. We broke up. I'm 8 months pregnant at this point. I moved back home with my mom. So that was depressing in itself. Okay, I'm having to lose my freedom, my independence, and I'm moving back home with my mom and now 4 children. Get home, I have my baby, get home from the hospital, postpartum depression hits. Okay, so now I'm mourning the loss of my relationship. I'm mourning the life that I had, mourning the life that I thought I was going to have, and the environment that I wanted for my children. I'm mourning all this, and now I'm just depressed. So it took me a year to get myself together. And I was very intentional. I started to, pray more. I started to, hang out with friends more. I started to just, the light just started to come on for me. And I started to I started to be the woman that I've always wanted to become. Now, why I wasn't her, I don't know. But at this point, I'm finding my way, right? So I'm finding my way and I'm doing the things and I'm confident. I'm losing weight. Like I'm going on a weight loss journey and I'm losing weight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm her, right? So after this year goes by, right? I'm like, okay, so now it's time for me to get back out here in this dating scene. Let's see what's up, right? So I'm manifesting. I'm writing things in a journal. And I typically don't use journals because I've written some things down in journals back in the day and people have gotten a hold of them and read my innermost thoughts and secrets and I felt very violated. So I ain't do that shit no more, right? But this time it's different, right? So I'm writing my things and I'm not just writing bullcrap, right? I'm manifesting the love that I want in my life. That's what I felt like I was doing, right? So I'm writing and I'm not just writing what I want my husband to have. I'm writing these things as if I am currently married. I'm writing this as if he currently is acting like this, doing this and all this stuff. So I'm like, my husband has a stable whatever. My husband does this. My husband is that. My husband da 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 da. Whatever it is that I want. And my husband looks like this. My husband is this tall. My husband is this size. We writing this in real time like he's already here, right? Yeah. So and during this time, I'm not gonna lie, I was entertaining a situationship, if you will, and I knew that this person was not what God intended for my life. He was at best 75% of what I wanted. Now, to me, 75% isn't terrible. Okay. You can do a lot with a C. It's passing. I mean, look, it's passing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, nah, this is not it. Now in my core, I just knew, yeah, this is not what it is. But I'm entertaining it. But I'm still writing. I'm still manifesting who I want. And something happened with the situationship, and I said, you know what? I'm good on this. I was like, you have a good one, black man. I'm good on it. We can still be cool, whatever. 1 month after I cut that off, 30 days, y'all. 30 days. That is when I met the man that I married. We was playing some type of game on Facebook and I jumped in his DM. And at first, he wasn't really checking for me. He was like, oh, okay. Like it was almost like he was shooing me off. But then I was like, no, I'm trying to holler at you. Like, what's up? Like, what's up? And he was like, oh, you trying to talk to me? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I thought you were married or something. And I be giving that. I'm put up. Like when I'm with somebody, I'm put up. And so I'm the marrying kind. Even though at the time I had never been married, but whatever. Anyway, so we prancing along and we talking and we getting to know each other. And then we're asking things about each other and I'm noticing that I'm asking him what he likes to do. What are his hobbies? What are the things he likes to do? And he's telling me, oh, I like to grill. I like to work on cars. I like to, all this good stuff that you do with your hands, right? So I'm like, okay. And I'm making a mental note, like, okay, yeah, this is yeah. And then he asked me, how tall are you? And I said, I forgot to ask him how tall he is. So, and I'm gonna tell you why this is important. Every Sunday during my manifestation stage, I would hug my nephew. My nephew is like 6'5". I would side hug my nephew, and I would look up at him, and I'd be like, "Yeah, my husband this is a good height for my husband. My husband gonna be this tall." And he would just be tickled with me. He'd just be like, "Oh, whatever, Amy, or whatever." And a friend of mine at the time, he was a short guy. He would be like, "Man, your husband gonna be short just like me." I said, rebuke it, Lord. Cancel the assignment. I do not want him to be short. Like, and it sounds vain, but I was just making my request be made known. Now, if God would have gave me somebody who was 5'3", then it just was what it was. But I was letting my request be made, okay? All right. So back to him asking me how tall I was. I was like, well, I'm 5'7¾", so about 5'8". And I said, how tall are you? Because I had forgot to ask. He said, oh, I'm 6'5". Y'all, I could have melted into the floor like putty. I said, what? Y'all, that type stuff never happens to me. You know how people say they get checks in the mail and stuff like that? Like, that stuff never happens to me. And for this to, like, everything I wrote, like, he's telling me that this is what it is, and he's telling me how tall he is, like, y'all. I said, Lord, is this my husband? Is this what you trying to tell me? Y'all, I was just tickled, right? So, we going on, we talking, and we getting to know each other. And then he's like, well, there is something that I need to tell you. And I'm like, what? And he tells me that he has stage 4 colorectal cancer. And I was like, ooh, because I didn't know if I wanted to deal with that. And I was like, well, is it terminal? And he said, well, no, I'm going through treatments and all of these things. And he was very hopeful. And I was like, okay. So I go into my homegirl office at work, shut the door. I said, look, I lay it all out for her, right? And she was like, I understand why you're concerned. And I said, but she said, but let me tell you something, and she goes on to tell me about a situation that happened with her and her husband, and he had a health scare. And she said she could have lost him that day. She didn't know what was going to happen. And she was like, you never know what's going to happen, whether it happens today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now. And she said, is he everything you asked for? And I was like, yeah. She said, you never know what God can do. I was like, you know what? You right, girl. So I was like, I'm going to go on and talk to him. So I told him, I'm going to rock with you. We rocking. If you go into the doctors, we're going to make sure you're getting the care that you need. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. And you rocking, I'm rolling. So that was all he needed to hear. So we was rocking and rolling, and y'all, this relationship taught me so much about love. It taught me so much about boundaries. It taught me so much about respect. It taught me so much about how to love and how to be loved. How to love someone the way they feel love, and how to allow people to love you the way you need to be loved. And y'all, look, I try not to say anything about perfection, but like, he was perfect for me. We were perfect for each other. And he did end up losing his battle to cancer May 4th of 25. We were only married for 2.5 months, give or take. To his very last day. To his very last day, he showed me how much he loved, honored, cherished, and respected me. And that level of love makes it very difficult to get back into the dating scene, because I'm telling you, going from Wagyu steak to bologna has been quite an ordeal for me. And I'm not saying that every man out here is trash and all of this stuff, but it's like when you go from loving someone so deeply and being loved on a level so deeply, like it's difficult to come back from that. And that's why it's so important for me to get with couples to talk about love, to talk about marriage, to talk about honoring and respecting and cherishing each other, because that's what we were made to do. And somewhere along the lines, it's just kind of feeling like, the men feel like they don't have to love, honor, and respect and cherish women. And women feeling like they don't need a man and they don't have to do this, that, and the third. But like me and my husband, it was almost like a competition to show how much we loved each other. Like, nah, I'm gonna outdo you. And he like, no, baby, I'm gonna outdo you. Like, that's what it was. And it calls for a harmonious relationship. We hardly ever fought. Well, we didn't fight. Did we have disagreements? Yes. But we didn't fight. And that relationship showed me that I had grown as a woman. And I was able to verbalize my grievances without being disrespectful. I was able to be patient when he wasn't doing things that I would have wanted, or doing things that a way that I would not have preferred. You know what I'm saying? Like, it taught me how to be patient and calm and allow a man to listen. Y'all ain't lived until you had a man who knows how to lead you. It felt like second nature. Now, if anybody know me, they knew that I was a girl. I'm not going for that. Ain't no nigga finna tell me what to do. Ain't no, I wasn't going for that. Especially, coming from my relationship that I was in, and I wasn't verbalizing stuff. And then I started verbalizing stuff, and then all of a sudden I was the problem. So I wouldn't let nobody, because I had went so long with my needs unmet that I just broke out and just was like, no, you're not going to do this. No, I'm not going for that. And this relationship taught me patience. It taught me how to vocalize what I need. And it taught me how to, listen and understand things from another person's point of view, because I don't know everything, y'all. I'm telling you, when you in a healthy relationship, yeah. So that is the reason why I made Poured. That is the reason why we're going to have all of these episodes. We're going to have married couples come on. We're going to have dating couples coming on. It's going to be a vibe. So y'all make sure y'all get y'all glass, honey, and pour up with me, because we got a lot to unpack. I need y'all to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Poured by Elle Harper. Y'all have a great night.